The Ramchal was dealing with the issue, what exactly is the purpose of existence? Why does man exist? Amar HaSeichel, Ach ma shetzorach levar rishon. The first thing we have to clarify and elucidate, what is the essence of man, and what is the service which is incumbent upon the human being? What is the objective which God wants from a human being? What does God want from us? It's interesting. I always give an example. The United States government creates a laboratory, the most sophisticated laboratory. It cost them $1 trillion. And you're a smart person, superior intelligence, but there's no manual or guidebook what you're supposed to do in that laboratory. And the one who created the laboratory says, figure it out. Understand? By the time this man finishes figuring it out, if he does figure it out, he destroys half the laboratory. What exactly is man about? What's his purpose? What's incumbent upon him? Very valid questions. And this is the question which 99.9% of people in existence don't ask. What is my purpose in existence? Why do I exist? To take snapshots for Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. Is that what it's about? Take the inventory at 6 Fifth Avenue to buy closeouts, to own yachts, to own mansions, to rub shoulders with the most financially successful people in the world. That's what God wants. I'm talking about a person who believes in God. What exactly is incumbent upon man? I'm the Shomo. That's exactly which has to be reconciled. Who is man? What is the purpose of man? To understand this with a level of clarity in all aspects of this question. We're talking about these are the nuts and bolts of existence, why we exist. Amar HaSeichel. So the intellect responds. The foundation that the whole structure stands upon. What is the foundation? God wants the human being to perfect himself and all existence which surrounds him, to perfect the world. And what is the vow? What is your merit? And what is your reward? That you perfected yourself and existence. He says that is your merit and that is your reward. What does that mean? Schuso. That is your merit. Because the person is occupied continuously to achieve this level of perfection. And when you achieve that perfection, when you achieve that perfection, why are you a beneficiary of that? Was it given to you gratis? Was gifted to you, or you created it yourself? It was through your efforts and meeting all the challenges. The chelko kolamolo. You're fully deserving of that achievement because it's only due to your own initiative that you achieve that level of completion, of perfection. Because ultimately you'll be the person who's completed. I'll give you an example. Person goes, very elementary level. And he's taught when he's young that if you maintain your physical health, eat healthy, exercise, when you'll be 60, 70, your health will be thriving. If not, it's going to start waning, and you'll be preoccupied with illness, with physical failing. Your mind will not be the same, and the person heeds the call of responsibility. And all his life, he eats right, sleeps right, exercises right, and he gets himself a first-class education. Now, at the age of 65, he has the health and the vibrancy of a 40-year-old person. He has the wisdom of an 80-year-old man due to his education and his understanding of reality. What he is at that age, it's due to what? He's fortunate. He feels more fortunate than anybody his age. But the level of accomplishment and why he's in that state is why. Because all the years that he invested in himself. So what is the reward? Why am I healthy? Why am I functional? Why do I walk without pain? And I walk on air. And I'm able to enjoy life. It's only due to whatever he did for himself. It's not a tribute to anybody else but himself. But there were challenges. You could have succumbed not to eat healthy, not to exercise, not to become educated, not to excel. So all that you accomplish is due to what? To your own investment in your own life. So that you're complete and you're accomplished and you're functional, you're a beneficiary of what? Nobody gave it to you. You know, you had to pull yourself up from your own bootstraps. Nobody pulled up your bootstraps. You did it yourself. So you are a beneficiary of your own investment and your own initiatives that you invested in your own life. That's in the physical sense. You say to a person, do you believe in God? Yes. What does God want from you? He wants I should be a good person. And what is the meaning of good? It's what I think is good. So I say, it's like the person says, anybody to the right of me is a fanatic. Anybody to the left of me is a heretic. Where are you? I'm dead center. Maybe you're about to go off the cliff. But the way you perceive yourself, what is right, what is good, whatever you believe to be good and right. You understand? In that context, you know what God is? He's a figment of your imagination. That's all he is. He has no bearing on your life unless you can do something so unconscionable. He's going to hold you back. That belief will hold you back from crossing that extreme, terrible line. But in terms of your daily life and the majority of your life, what dictates your life? What you believe to be right and good for you. Which is not necessarily the case, you know. Person's overweight, obese, suffering diabetes. He goes into a pastry shop. Not 7-layer cake, 15-layer cake. With a malted, with thick whole milk, ice cream, Haagen-Dazs ice cream, not dietetic, with a straw, and he's bordering on emphysema, and he's smoking a Cuban cigar, and he inhales it. This guy thinks he's in paradise, closest thing to paradise. He doesn't realize they're about to pull the plug on him, health-wise. He's puffing and huffing. This is what it's all about. I said, why? Because I enjoy it. I love it. Although it's true, I have some pains, but you realize those pains may end your life before you realize it. What are you doing? It's because I feel this is the right thing for me. Somebody looks at him from the outside. The man's committing suicide. He's digging the grave with the malted and with everything else, his whole lifestyle. So I believe in God, but what does God want? I should be a good person. What's a good person? You know, I don't beat people up in the street. You know, I never spoke back to my boss disrespectfully because he would fire me. So I'm a good person. I pay my rent because otherwise they're going to dispossess me. I'm a good person. I give charity because I get a deduction. Otherwise, I'd have to pay the government tax. I'm really a good person. You got to understand what a good person is. This person doesn't begin understanding what a good person is. Good is what God says is good. Anything other than that, at best, is neutral. But it's not beneficial to advance you for your purpose in existence. So you have to know what God wants. I'll give you an example. Warren Buffett says to you, take your last dollar, put it in this investment. And it's not easy. And you got to scrounge to get that last dollar, put in investment. But you know, if Warren Buffett says put it there, you're going to have a phenomenal return. And that's what you believe. And you do it, and sure enough, you get that phenomenal return. What do you say? Despite the difficulty of putting that money together, putting that investment, it was worth it. In retrospect, it was worth it. Look what I have in return. God says to you, I've given you a life. I've given you a mind. I've given you a world. Take it, invest your life in it. The return will be unlimited. That's what God says. And he tells you exactly what to do, what documents to sign, and how to check in, and how to function within it. God, I'm not sure. I mean, Warren Buffett, he's a shoo-in. God says it, and you believe in the authenticity of Torah. You believe in the divinity of Torah. You believe in the world to come. But yet, you're slacking off. When Warren Buffett tells you, put that money together, put it in that investment, you stay up day and night putting that money together. Otherwise, you're not happy. And if you miss the deadline, you're depressed. You don't say Kriya Shema in its proper time, you're not depressed. You miss tefillin once in a while, you're not depressed. Although God says, you know what the value of those tefillin are? Has infinite value. And God's the guarantor. But yet, Warren Buffett, we get excited about, and Lahavdil, Elf Avdos, God, we could pass on it once in a while. It's okay. So what does it mean doing the will of God? You have to study. You have to be instructed. But it's interesting. It's not easy to push a boulder up a mountain. Could you imagine? You could only push a boulder up that mountain up to a point. Eventually, you become overwhelmed with the weight, and what happens? It comes back and it crushes you. Let's say you go and you study, and you see the value of putting on tefillin. It's not just, I understand it, you feel it. You see it's worthwhile, the investment, because you live your life on a spiritual plane. Anybody from the outside doesn't see you different than anywhere else. You eat normally. You don't have to, you're not fasting 6 days a week. You dress like anybody else, but a little more conservatively, maybe. But yet, after a day of investing your life in studying Torah, disseminating Torah, doing charity, you know something? You don't want to change places with anybody in the world, including Warren Buffett. Because you have a sense and a value of your level of accomplishment, which only the person himself is able to sense that accomplishment because he's touched in a certain way. And that's a reality. I can tell you truthfully, I wouldn't exchange places with Warren Buffett for anything in the world. Or for any, even ordinary Jew who has phenomenal amounts of money. He could have the biggest portfolio of real estate. Wouldn't change places with him. Because what I have and what I do and my sense of value and accomplishment, it surpasses any of that. But why do I feel this way and other people may not feel this way? I don't feel I'm pushing a boulder up a mountain. I'm running after the boulder to take hold of the boulder because I see the value and I'm able to internalize the value of that. So it's not a burden. It's not weighing down on me. I don't see it as an infringement of my life. If you see it's an infringement of your life, you say, enough. God, I've given you enough. Rabbi, I heard enough. I gotta get myself a pair of earplugs. I got these iPods in my ears. I'm gonna listen to something else. You can hear the most beautiful symphony. And what are you gonna listen to? Some kind of rapper where the guy's out on bail for committing murder. That's music. You know what that is? That's called insanity.